How spiritual experiences can influence political views. Spiritual experiences have long been a source of personal transformation, moral guidance, and a deeper understanding of life. These experiences, whether grounded in organized religion, personal enlightenment, or a connection to a higher power, often shape individuals' worldviews. Consequently, they play a significant role in influencing political perspectives and decisions. This essay explores the ways in which spiritual experiences shape political ideologies, examining how they impact values, policy preferences, activism, and public discourse. Haptis 1. Spiritual experiences and moral foundations. Spiritual experiences often provide individuals with a moral compass, which serves as a framework for evaluating social and political issues. Many spiritual traditions emphasize values such as compassion, justice, and care for others, which can translate into political stances. For instance, someone who experiences a profound sense of interconnectedness with all life through spirituality might advocate for policies supporting environmental conservation, social welfare, and global peace. Conversely, spiritual experiences can also lead to a reinforcement of more conservative moral foundations. In many cases, individuals who identify their spiritual experiences with divine commandments or sacred texts may prioritize tradition, authority, and sanctity in their political choices. For example, spiritual experiences rooted in Christianity, Islam, or Hinduism might lead to support for policies promoting family values, opposition to certain social movements, or stricter governance rooted in perceived divine order. Shot 2. Influence on policy preferences. Spiritual experiences often guide individuals towards specific policy preferences that align with their moral and ethical outlooks. Consider environmental policies, which frequently appeal to individuals who view the earth as sacred. Native American spiritual practices, which emphasize the sanctity of nature, have inspired movements for environmental justice and land preservation. Similarly, adherents of Buddhism, guided by principles of mindfulness and compassion, may support policies that address climate change, animal welfare, and sustainable living. In contrast, spiritual experiences can also inspire policies emphasizing societal order and discipline. For instance, someone whose spirituality focuses on obedience to divine laws might favor stricter immigration policies, law enforcement, or educational reforms that promote religious teachings. Hack 3. Spirituality as a catalyst for activism. Throughout history, spirituality has fueled political activism. Figures like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Archbishop Desmond Tutu were deeply influenced by their spiritual beliefs, which inspired them to lead transformative political movements. Gandhi's adherence to ahimsa, nonviolence, and satyagraha, truth force, shaped his resistance to British colonial rule. Similarly, Martin Luther King Jr., Christian beliefs in justice and equality underpinned his leadership in the American civil rights movement. For many individuals, spiritual experiences lead to a sense of responsibility for improving the world, which manifests as activism. Movements for gender equality, LGBTQ+ rights, and racial justice have often drawn support from spiritual communities that frame these struggles as moral imperatives. Liberation theology, a Christian movement emphasizing social justice, has played a significant role in advocating for the rights of marginalized populations in Latin America and beyond. Namrstat 4. Role of spirituality in political identity. Spiritual experiences contribute to shaping political identities by influencing how individuals perceive themselves and their place in the world. For example, a spiritual awakening that emphasizes universal love and equality might lead someone to adopt a progressive political identity, supporting policies that promote inclusivity and human rights. Conversely, an experience that reinforces a sense of cultural or religious heritage might lead to a more nationalist or traditional political identity. Political parties often leverage these identities to mobilize voters. In the United States, for example, the Christian right has become a significant political force, with many individuals seeing their political engagement as an extension of their spiritual obligations. Similarly, progressive political movements often align with spiritual communities that emphasize justice, environmental stewardship, and inclusivity. 5. Spirituality and public discourse. Spiritual experiences also influence how individuals engage in political discourse. People with profound spiritual experiences often bring values such as empathy, patience, and understanding into political discussions, seeking common ground rather than division. This approach can foster dialogue and compromise, even on contentious issues. However, spirituality can also lead to polarization in public discourse. When individuals perceive their spiritual beliefs as absolute truths, they may find it challenging to engage with opposing views. This dynamic is evident in debates over issues like abortion, same sex marriage, and religious freedom, where deeply held spiritual convictions can result in starkly divided opinions. 6. Spiritual experiences in multicultural and secular contexts. In multicultural societies, the intersection of spirituality and politics becomes even more complex. Spiritual experiences from diverse traditions bring varied perspectives to political debates. For instance, Islamic spirituality might inspire support for policies emphasizing community welfare, ummah, while indigenous spiritual practices might prioritize environmental protection and the rights of native populations. Secular contexts present unique challenges and opportunities for spirituality's role in politics. While secularism often advocates for the separation of religion and state, spiritual values continue to inform ethical debates and public policies. For example, debates about euthanasia, genetic engineering, and artificial intelligence often draw on spiritual perspectives about the sanctity of life and human purpose. Charter 7. Challenges of spiritual influence in politics. The integration of spirituality into political life is not without challenges. One of the primary concerns is the potential for spiritual beliefs to justify exclusionary or oppressive policies. History is replete with examples of religious institutions endorsing colonialism, slavery, and patriarchal systems. When spiritual experiences are interpreted narrowly or dogmatically, they can lead to policies that marginalize certain groups. Another challenge is maintaining pluralism in political systems influenced by spirituality. In democracies, the coexistence of multiple spiritual perspectives requires a commitment to tolerance and dialogue. Balancing individual spiritual convictions with the collective good is an ongoing political challenge. Slide 8. Transformative potential of spiritual political synergy. Despite these challenges, the synergy between spirituality and politics holds transformative potential. Spiritual experiences often emphasize a vision of a better world, inspiring individuals and communities to work towards systemic change. For instance, the Dalai Lama's emphasis on universal responsibility has influenced global conversations about peace, compassion, and ethics. Moreover, spiritual experiences can encourage politicians and policymakers to adopt a more holistic approach to governance. By integrating values such as compassion, humility, and interconnectedness, political leaders can create policies that address the root causes of societal issues rather than merely treating symptoms. Conclusion. Spiritual experiences profoundly influence political views, shaping individuals' values, identities, and policy preferences. While spirituality can inspire activism and foster empathy, it also presents challenges, particularly when spiritual beliefs are used to justify exclusionary or oppressive policies. In multicultural and secular societies, navigating the intersection of spirituality and politics requires a commitment to dialogue, tolerance, and mutual respect. Ultimately, the transformative potential of spiritual experiences lies in their ability to inspire individuals to envision and work toward a more just, compassionate, and inclusive world. Whether through activism, policymaking, or public discourse, spirituality can be a powerful force for positive change in the political sphere. However, realizing this potential requires a balance between individual convictions and the collective good, ensuring that spiritual influences contribute to a politics that uplifts and unites rather than divides.